Welcome, everybody. My name's Colton from Zim2 Capital. So I'm here with Nick Rodway, the CEO of Core Assets Corp. And Nick's been a while since we've had you in. So what have you been up to the past couple months?
Well, I've been busy. I mean, 99% of my time is focused on core assets, of course. And I've been up to the project a couple times this year, and we drilled 3,600 meters. I clued up there just in early September. And now we're getting ready to get all our results in, and we can't wait to present them to the shareholders because we're very excited. It's been another very successful year, and we've got a bunch of great intercepts.
And I think it's worth to go over, the success that you've had in this year, but also the previous year. So, you had some news out in August talking about some visual results that you found, but going back before that, those results come from a lot of work that's been done and a lot of good results coming out of that work. So going back to March 2023, we got some results back from drill holes. The first 4 drill holes ever completed at Silver Lime had some really good results here. 1.25 meters of 215 grams per ton silver, 18% zinc and lead. Maybe you can just go into how that was determined and what were the results for the past couple months there.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, as most investors know, or maybe some of the newer ones don't, but this project basically started from just boots and hammer prospecting on the ground and finding a lot of massive sulfide over a very large footprint, and that was what initially grabbed the attention and made us able to raise the money that we did. So we went in there and we had some mapping done, and we could see the mineralization surface. So we're drilling things that we could see, and that was always the thesis. And yeah, you just quoted there. That was obviously over 2 years ago now. But our very first drill platform at the Jackie target, I believe that was. We were producing 10% plus zinc lead, and 1% plus copper, and it was common to see over 1,000 grams per ton of silver, and that's not just in grab samples. That was in that drill hole that you just talked about. And then as we continue to go on here, and I guess as you look at the next couple news releases there, it leads up from visuals to what we've proven, and all of our money has gone into the ground. 85% of our money, and every time we drill, we've hit these very good high grade intercepts of zinc, lead, silver, copper, and even some gold. And what we've been doing is we've been using a hub and spoke model. So picture a tire. We would be drilling the rubber part of the tire, and then the goal is to continue to drill and move into a proposed intrusion or central source where everything's coming from. So most of our drilling that we started in 2022 and 2023 was focused around those perimeters, and there's countless amounts of the areas to drill there so where you can actually see the mineralization. Obviously, everybody with a drill, you do hit mineralization. So this year we moved in a little bit more, and we've gotten some very beautiful, thick, massive sulfide intercepts. Like we put out a couple news releases there the past 3 months about what we've been seeing, and at the Whaleback area, which is just a couple hundred meters from what we call Sulfide City. That's a very zinc, copper, silver rich area that we've sampled both through channel sampling and grab sampling, and we drilled that, and it's one of our thickest massive sulfide intercepts to date. And the channel sampling that we did that was 2021. I personally actually channel sampled that, and we got around 10% zinc and around 0.3 to 0.5% copper, and there's also a half ounce silver credit in there. So that's the kind of, I'm very used to sampling massive sulfide. I know what good grade looks like on the property. So that will be a pretty healthy drill intercept that we can't wait to get back and put out to the public.
Yeah, and I mean, looking back, I just want to go over some of the history here, because I think maybe people forget some of the results that you had. Like those first assay results back in 2023 were obviously great. But you followed that up with more drilling, 5.6 meters of 254 grams silver, 9.9% lead zinc. Then you have some channel sampling of 1.3% copper. And this all is leading into a release around October of, and I was actually a little bit before that, August, talking about that 2.4 kilometer trend. So you've kind of defined that 2.4 kilometer trend now, and it seems like you're trying to pinpoint exactly where to go from there. Is that kind of where we're at this point?
Yeah, well, I mean, the footprint started off, 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
Before you knew it, it continued to grow, and this was all just from things you can see again on surface, things that exist. And we're at the point now where it's a 9 kilometer by 7 kilometer radius, right? It's like it's never ending. There's mineralization everywhere there, and the drill bit does produce results as well.
Yeah.
And again, at the end of the day, it's all about tracking all these things and finding this central source. And that's what we've been doing. Every year we've been getting what I would consider extremely high grade results. And again, it's not often to get over 1,000 grams per ton, over a kilogram per ton silver in a drill hole. It's not common to get over 10% zinc in a drill hole, let alone over, more than 5 meters. And you got the lead and zinc there to back it up as well, and there's a little bit of gold here and there. So I mean, we're producing world-class numbers here on this thing, and it's not often you get to go into a project brand new and start everything right from the beginning, and that's due to the preceding glaciers.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing people forget is this project before you guys were on here was not worked on at all. Nobody really even had it on their radar, and that's super, super rare, especially with these types of deposits nowadays. I know you talked about the ones in Mexico being pretty much mined out. So, yeah, and like you said, the numbers speak for themselves. Obviously, I'm looking at some of the numbers here, and they're really, really good. The one thing that a lot of investors might ask then is, why is the stock down from where it once was? And I think you hear excuses like, well, maybe some of these drill intercepts aren't that long. And I know that this year that was going to be a bit of the focus, was to get those longer intercepts. So, I know there's not much you can say on why the stock is down, and, people might have their opinions on the market and things like that. But is there anything you can help investors kind of understand about the project and where you're headed?
Well, I mean, that's a big question. I mean, obviously I can't comment directly on share price. The share price fluctuates day to day. I mean, I think our high was at 80 odd cents at one point.
Yeah.
So it's been all over the map, and there's not many companies that get to see a market cap fluctuation like that. So it's quite unimaginable, where it can go, and it changes every day, right? I mean, the main points are that we've been able to raise the money, we've been able to keep the interest enough to be able to do large programs like we have. We raised $5.6 million there in last year, when things were arguably the toughest they've been between the end of last year and the beginning of this year with regards to just sentiment in the junior space. I think macro-wise, things have really lifted up, especially with gold price cracking $1,600 or $2,600 there a couple of weeks ago, as kind of holding there. Like, there's little things that are happening here that I think are grabbing more attention to our sector. Obviously, the juniors are still a little lagged on everything. There's a couple news stories here and there that are getting a lot of attention, but ultimately we still haven't received, I don't think, the attention that we deserve. Once the major companies start consolidating more and acquiring other companies, mid-tiers are starting to amalgamate now as well. So we are seeing these little things. Now, I haven't been around for a cycle quite like this today. There's a lot of factors that are happening macro in the world that haven't happened at the same time before. So it's hard to say if we're out of it here yet. But again, if you have a great project, you're still going to be able to raise money. And if you're producing results and you're doing what you say you're going to do, then what else can you do? We don't make revenue. So our earnings don't change from quarter to quarter. It just comes down to our intrinsic value and what we've put into the ground and what we've gotten out. And obviously every CEO thinks that their company is undervalued, but where we are at this point, I live, eat, sleep, and breathe Core Assets. This is what I do every day, all 7 days a week. So do I think it's undervalued? Obviously, yes. I think it's extremely undervalued. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be putting out some, what I think to be exceptional results coming here in the next month or two. What I want to do is I want to put everything out. Once we have 100% of the results, then we have 100% of the story. So I want to be able to put everything together and nothing in dribs and drabs. And I mean, our team and me, everyone has never been, we're more convinced than ever at this point and we're very excited to get these results out, and we just want to get them out in an organized manner. So it'll be before the new year for sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully much sooner.
Yeah, and I think one thing we were trying to talk about how to discuss this, because it's a very touchy subject for some people, but I mean, you're looking back at these 2022, 2023 results, and your stock price was at all-time highs, and you had very little results out at all. And now, we're seeing results after result after result, high quality results, and the stock price is lower than it has been. So sometimes they just don't correlate, the stock price and the progression of the company, and especially in a market like this, it doesn't seem to always be correlating. And that's what I'm seeing, and I think that everybody with Core Assets sees the same thing. And you guys are, like you said, still able to raise money. You're putting 85% of it in the ground. You're doing everything right, and you're getting the results needed. So, at some day, you got to think that the tides will turn. So, but moving into results now. So August 7th, you drilled 11.8 meters of massive sulfide at Silver Lime. Those results will be out shortly, as you mentioned.
Don't forget, that was the headliner there. Most visually appealing rock. But our very first hole that we drilled was about a 450-meter hole, and I mean, there's numerous intercepts of massive sulfide skarn throughout that, intermingled with porphyry style mineralization, over that whole width. So there's going to be some very good results coming out of that as well.
Yeah, and so you are done. Drilling is done. 10 holes, 3,600 meters completed. Just waiting on assay results now.
Yeah, we're waiting on assay results, compiling everything together as we always do. And we can't wait to get these results out. It's going to be the big catalyst here.
Yep.
And I think it's going to definitely turn some heads when we see what these massive sulfide intercepts are going to bring back. And also, I think there's going to be a couple surprises as well, especially from our Pike Valley area. That's an area that we only discovered last year, and it has very big bands of stockwork mineralization with lead, zinc, and silver, and even some gold as well. And even the rock itself, the host, or what we call like the ground mass, I guess, of that rock has a lot of sulfide in it as well. It's very cryptocrystalline, harder to see, So some of this stuff is very difficult to predict with the eye.
Right.
And then other stuff like this 11.8 meter intercept, that's very chunky massive sulfide, very coarse grain. So you can really easily guess percentages of minerals. So Pike Valley, we really don't know what that's going to send back to us, but we did have some grad samples there that were over a quarter of a kilogram silver, with your regular 10 to 15% zinc, lead.
Kind of a regular in here.
Yeah, but it is a different style of rock than what we've drilled before. We've never drilled that, so I can't wait to see what those holes come up with.